Disclaimer. We are interested in everything and experts in nothing. We enjoy learning, but get it wrong sometimes. We mean no disrespect, and if we mess up, kindly correct us. Let's take this ride together, unless your intention is to cause harm or distress, in which case, with utmost haste, fuck right off.
So, hi, it's your turn.
It is my turn. I'm Roxana, and I am doing, even though technically by the time this airs, it is no longer spooky season, but as of this recording, it is not over until tomorrow, like midnight tomorrow, my whole birthday, spooky season still.
Yes.
And then the real spooky season starts when it's November 1st and I have to go renew my tags.
Oh,
But at least this year, I don't have to renew my license as well. Last
that's
year, it
good.
was a double whammy.
I hate that.
Anyway, that adulting portion out of the way, I am doing the history of Waverly Hills Sanatorium.
Oh, I want to go see this place so bad.
I know, I do too. We've got to go because
We need to do a field trip.
it's not that far away. Like, we need to do a hands-on field trip and all that stuff.
Okay.
So, the Waverly Hills Sanatorium. It is a former sanatorium located in southwestern Louisville, Jefferson County, Kentucky. Originally, it opened in 1910 as a two-story hospital to accommodate 40 to 50 tuberculosis patients.
Oh, I totally forgot that it was not originally for mental health.
No. And we're going to get into that. It opened in 1910, 40 to 50 tuberculosis patients. In the early 1900s, Jefferson County was ravaged by an outbreak of tuberculosis, which was known as the White Plague, as opposed to the Black Plague. I don't know why. I should have looked into that, actually. But anyway, this prompted the construction of a new hospital. The hospital actually closed in 1961 due to the antibiotic drug streptomycin that lowered the need for such a hospital.
Good.
There were original plans to turn the abandoned hospital into a hotel, but that is no longer the case.
Okay.
Which, no, that may be a little disturbing. I mean, I don't know. We'll see.
I'm kind of curious. Like, I don't know. I might do it. I stayed in that haunted hotel for my honeymoon, but that was
the Lizzie Borden house.
No, that was a visit. No, the
right.
I forget the name of the hotel, but it was the George Washington Suite we stayed in, and it was apparently,
and that was supposedly haunted.
But I didn't hear anything. But Steve swears he heard somebody knock on the door at 3 a.m. But there were no steps like approaching or leaving before the knock.
Just the knock.
Yeah.
Which it could have just been a phantom knocker. Who knows?
I mean, I don't know. I was asleep at the time.
Yes. So I looked up the etymology of the word sanatorium because for me, I always associated a sanatorium and a sanitarium as being the same thing. They're not.
Very similar words.
They're very similar words, which is why in my life previous, I thought they meant the same thing, and they do not. So a sanatorium, even though it says also a sanitarium or a sanatorium, these are Latin words, can you tell? This starts from Latin sanare, which means to heal or make healthy. They're antiquated names for specialized hospitals for the specific treatment of diseases, related ailments, and convalescence.
In this case, tuberculosis.
Yes. Sanatoriums are often located in a healthy climate, usually a countryside. The idea of healing was an important reason for the historical wave of establishment of sanatoriums, especially in the end of the 19th and 20th century. One, for instance, is the healing of consumptives, which is something they called tuberculosis. They also referred to alcoholism as a consumptive disease. But when they talk about consumption, they're specifically talking about tuberculosis.
Yeah.
There were also more obscure addictions and longings of hysteria, masturbation, fatigue, and emotional exhaustion. which some of those might actually been more of like an asylum sanitarium side, but whatever.
Yeah.
Facility operators were often charitable associations such as the Order of St. John and the newly founded social welfare insurance companies. The first suggestion of a sanatoria in the modern sense was made by George Boddington, who opened a sanatorium in Sutton Coldfield in 1836 and later published his essay on the treatment and cure of pulmonary consumption, tuberculosis.
Got it.
His novel approach was dismissed as very crude ideas and unsupported assertions.
Wow.
His sanatorium was converted to an asylum after. The rationale for sanitaria in the pre-antibiotic era was that a regimen of rest and good nutrition offered the best chance that the patient's immune system would wall off pockets of a pulmonary TB infection. In 1863, Herman Bremer opened it's now Poland. It was basically for the treatment of tuberculosis. They were exposed to plentiful amounts of high altitude, fresh air, good nutrition.
Wait, I'm having a brainwave. So in Black Beauty, remember the movie?
Yes.
We watched as kids, and Jerry had to go live in the country. No, it wasn't Jerry. Was it the first wife that was all frail and they had to live in the country? And
probably because she has
part of that story.
Yeah, no, it makes a lot of sense because that happened a lot of times. A lot of times they would say that country or like mountainous areas were good for tuberculosis because the cold and the pure air would help breathing.
Wasn't this also like related to the Stanley Hotel?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Mm-hmm. I believe so. I can't remember, but I do believe that for a time, I think that was originally open to be a hotel, but I think patients who were not in like the end stages of tuberculosis would come and get refreshing air and things like that. Maybe. I don't think it was built for a hospital though.
No, I don't think it was, but I thought like the person who built it, like his wife had tuberculosis and that's why they moved there because it was good for her or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess we'll have to do a Stanley Hotel episode, but continue.
Yes, we will have to do that. I've been there. You've been there. It's fun. Okay. So back to this specific sanatorium.
Right. Sorry.
The land that is known today as Waverly Hill was purchased by Major Thomas H. Hayes in 1883 as the Hayes family home. Since the new home was far away from any existing schools, Mr. Hayes decided to open a local school for his daughters to attend. He started a one-room schoolhouse on Pages Lane and hired Lizzie Lee Harris as the teacher. Miss Harris had a fondness for Walter Scott's Waverly novels, so she named the schoolhouse Waverly School, and this was spelled Waverley. Major Hayes liked the peaceful sounding name, so he named his property Waverly Hill.
Got it.
The Board of Tuberculosis Hospital kept the name when they bought the land and opened the sanatorium. But they did change the spelling to exclude the second E. Mm-hmm. But it's just not sure when, and it has fluctuated many times over the years. But either way, they probably were just like, that other E is unnecessary. We're dropping it.
Not doing anything.
It's not doing anything. It can get out of there. In the early 1900s, Jefferson County was severely stricken with that outbreak of tuberculosis. Mm-hmm. And there were many tuberculosis cases in Louisville at the time because all of the wetlands along the Ohio River were a perfect breeding ground for tuberculosis bacteria.
Yeah.
So to try to contain the disease, a 2-story wooden sanatorium was opened, which consisted of an administrative main building and 2 open air pavilions, each housing 20 patients for treatment of early cases. So these weren't people that were severe. These were early cases, supposedly. In the early part of 1911, the city of Louisville began to make preparations to build a new Louisville City Hospital, and the hospital commissioners decided in their plans there would be no provision made in this new city hospital for the admission of pulmonary tuberculosis. because just too many cases that would all be what the hospital took. So the board of the tuberculosis hospital was given $25,000 to erect a hospital for the care of advanced cases of pulmonary tuberculosis. So they basically said, here's a bunch of money, go build a specific hospital. We're going to have a general hospital, and that's just go make it over there.
Okay.
So on August 31st of 1912, all tuberculosis patients from the city hospital were relocated to a temporary quarters, and they were actually in tents on the grounds of Waverly Hills, pending the completion for the hospital. In December 1912, a hospital advanced cases opened for treatment of another 40 patients. So they did get everything up and running, and by December 1912, it was ready to go.
They did that pretty quick.
Yeah, they did. So, I mean, I guess $25,000 in 1912 got you some quick workers.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't think we do anything that fast these days.
Also, it may have also been just the absolute necessity.
Yeah.
So who knows? In 1914, a children's pavilion added another 50 beds, making them known capacity around 130 patients at the time. The children's pavilion was also not only for the sick children, but also the children of tuberculosis patients and who could not be cared for otherwise because their parents were in as a patient of tuberculosis.
Good point.
The report also mentioned that the goal was to add a new building each year to continually grow, so there would have been more available than specifically listed. Due to the constant need for repairs on the wooden structures, need for a more durable structure, as well as need for more beds, construction of a 5-story building that could hold more than 400 patients began in March of 1924. The new building opened October 17, 1926, but after the introduction of streptomycin in 1943, the number of tuberculosis cases gradually lowered until there was no longer a need for such a large hospital. The remaining patients were sent to Hazelwood Sanatorium in Louisville, and Waverly Hills was closed in 1961. So how did Waverly Hills go from a serene and secluded Louisville complex to a site with a supernatural reputation in popular culture?
Because of all the deaths?
We're going to get there. In a 2001 newspaper story ahead of an on-site taping of Fox Family's Scariest Places on Earth, a Courier Journal noted countless local legends about the place being haunted had been fueled by the high number of people who succumbed to tuberculosis during the more than 50 years it housed patients.
Makes sense to me.
It does. And also the fact that it closed in 1961 and basically stood abandoned. So it was decrepit. And
what is it about abandoned buildings that is so fucking creepy?
It's so creepy. It is creepy. And on top of it, it being a hospital where countless numbers of people died over 50 years, that makes it extra special creepy. And so, of course, local people are going to go try to break in and all that stuff like that. And it just makes it even worse.
Yeah, I wonder what it is, because like the hospital, presumably, while it was in use, wasn't particularly creepy versus any other hospital, and then they stopped using it and suddenly creep factor times 10. Like, what is that? Why do we like this?
Well, we're going to talk a little bit about it being creepy while in use.
Okay.
So part of the reason that it is such a creepy place during its heyday and now is there an infamous 600-foot body chute.
Oh God. Oh, I think I knew that, but I had forgotten.
This was used to discreetly move thousands of corpses through the facility and has grown in infamy and is often cited as a place where ghostly experiences take place.
See, okay. I guess that would be discreet, but good Lord, body chute? That didn't ring off any bells as a bad idea.
Okay, it wasn't. We'll get into it. It's not actually like a laundry chute where they just went, wee, enjoy your afterlife.
Which is totally what I'm picturing.
I know, it's what I pictured too when I read body chute. I'm like, excuse me, what now?
Yeah.
But we'll talk about it.
Okay.
So in a 2017 interview with the Courier Journal, Tina Mattingly said orbs and balls of light are believed to have been seen in the chute along with spirits. So why was there a body chute? This is not the world's largest slip and slide, let me tell you, even though that's what I totally pictured.
Yes.
Like the most morbid slip and slide ever.
It's like a laundry chute, but for bodies. That's what happened.
Could you
in my
imagine
head.
if there was a backup and you had to like unclog the bodies? No.
No. Yeah, that's where my brain went. Minus
But that's not it.
Okay.
Not that. Originally, it was a tunnel. It served as a passageway to transport bodies, but also previously supplies in and out of the sanatorium. It was built on the first floor with the rest of the building. The corridor is 500 feet to the bottom of the hill and has a set of stairs on one side, which were the stairs were used for the workers. On the other side, there was a cart moved up and down the staircases, which transported supplies and other necessities. So it was basically originally the loading dock, like where supplies. It takes it from the bottom of the hill into the sanatorium at the top of the hill. So it's basically, it was like a pulley system to get the carts and stuff up there without having to go over.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because that's what it was originally for. However, once things really ramped up with the amount of severe cases, it became necessary for other things. So we talked a little bit about it in the beginning, but antibiotics did not exist in the time that the sanatorium was fully active. So what they believed the best way to treat TB patients were heat lamps, fresh air, positive talk, and reassurance. And that helped to keep patients alive, since the death rate of TB patients at the time was 1 death per day.
Wow.
However, at the peak of the disease, the sight of the dead being carried away in full view of the patients lowered the patient morale, as one would think,
Okay, yep, that makes sense.
Naturally. Therefore, that's when the sanatorium began transporting the dead bodies as secretively as possible, as a way to increase the morale and banish the understandably bad vibes of seeing your roomies, swinging by in a body bag during arts and crafts hour.
Yeah.
That would not be fun. The doctors and workers of the time also believed that this would help lower the disease's spreading rate. Hence, the tunnel was known as the body chute or death tunnel by the locals and any paranormal investigators visiting the sanatorium.
Yeah.
And apart from transporting dead bodies out of the sanatorium, the tunnel also served as a temporary air raid shelter during World War II.
Oh, okay.
Which, still creepy. I don't know if being in an air raid shelter that used to be full of dead bodies.
Yeah, I don't think I would feel terribly comfortable, but it's better than not sheltering.
True. Room 502 is also notorious. This is a room in the rooftop chambers, and it is believed to have housed tuberculosis patients also with mental illnesses. According to a 2010 Courier Journal, it was allegedly the site of a nurse's death by suicide. And while it is unconfirmed, I don't doubt that that was a depressing ass place to work. So it's entirely possible. But it also could have been made up by locals of room 502 is haunted from the nurse, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. It sounds like teens around a campfire drinking beer kind of story. Yeah.
But at the same time, depressing ass place to work if you're losing literally one patient a day every fucking day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not great. So that's actually what I have about Waverly Hills. Ghost tours are offered at a nighttime ghost tour. You can also spend, it's like $1,200, but you can spend the night as an unguided ghost tour. They do offer guided daytime tours, and these are offered to the public and be purchased on the Waverly Hills website.
So want to do a tour.
I don't want nighttime tour.
Yeah, but I so want to do a tour. I know, I wish I could remember, but I know the ghost hunters went and did that,
Yes.
Jason Grant. I know they did it. I don't remember what they found. I thought they found something, maybe like a figure on the thermal. Could have been that one.
Maybe, I don't know. I wouldn't doubt, because I know also there was a supernatural episode where they needed to collect ghost energy. So they're like, where should we go? And then they both looked at each other and went, Waverly Hills. And they go to Waverly Hills, Kentucky with whatever supernaturally stuff that they were needing to gather, and doing all of it, and like gathering all of these patients, because it's listed as one of the most haunted buildings in the United States.
Mhm.
But it was kind of weird because as I was doing my research, a lot of times, you can look into it and they'll give you specifics. This one did not give you specifics, which makes me think that there are just so fucking many, because
I
so
really
many
think there are.
died.
Yeah.
There's just so many that they just don't have the time to list them all out.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll have to see if I can find whatever footage the ghost hunters found when they went and share that with you. Because
Yeah, I also had a picture. Waverly Hills, they have the website itself. Under their history section, it's under repair, which kind of sucks because that would be the perfect place to have history. But they do have a collection of photographs from the heyday. So you get to see the building itself, obviously some of the treatment facility areas, some of the patients. Thank God, no pictures of the body tunnel.
yeah, I wouldn't really want to see that. That
I wouldn't
still
either.
creeps me out. No,
Nope.
Body chute, death tunnel. Those are both terrible names, and I don't want to go there.
I don't want to go there too. I'll lay flowers outside and say, I'm so sorry, but I'm not going in there.
I'm not going in there. Okay. Well, yeah, we're gonna have to do a field trip because
We absolutely will.
we live close enough. It's so stupid that we haven't been there yet.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so that was what you got.
Mhm.
All right. So if you enjoyed the podcast, give us a like, share, subscribe on any platform. You can find us on social media. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at Our Trivial Obsessions. We're on Twitter at Our Trivial Pod. We have a website, www.ourtrivialobsessions.com. That's where you're going to find all of our episode references and bonus materials eventually. I don't even know how many weeks we are behind at this point, but they always get loaded eventually. They're there.
Yes, they do.
And you can email us at randomqueensobsess@gmail.com. Random
Because we are.
queens
Because we are.
obsess.
Because we do.
And email us there with any topic requests for a future episode or anything you'd like to add to the conversation. And with that, we will see you next week.